This Colorado Buffs preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. WynnBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBet has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100, get $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to SGPN. Let her run and get her done.
Long, Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
I know CJ just borrows this space, but I feel like we should start referencing it as the box.
Yes, you, Colby, are here in the box. Colby Dant, of course, whenever we talk college football, college basketball, from the college basketball and college football experience, Colby Dant, aka the Dantabase. What's up, Colby?
Oh, I mean, I'm wearing the Colorado jersey. I'm looking like it's a little puffy on me, I feel like, but I'm super excited to have this guest on.
Colby said, "I'm not too fanboy, right?"
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
He is rocking the Buffs jersey. We have a very special guest joining us in just a second. Before we get to that, of course, shout out to WynnBet, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. Oh, head over there, bet $100, get $100 free bet. Of course, they're in the great state of Colorado, and if you're looking to get down on the Colorado Buffs football program, basketball, so many ways to win. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBet. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Joining us on the line, he is the voice of the Colorado Buffaloes, Mr. Mark Johnson. Mark, thank you so much for calling in.
Hey, it's good to be on with you guys. I tell you what, man, any show that opens up with Larry the Cable Guy, I'm feeling right at home. Man. That's good. That's pretty redneck right there.
Yeah. Well, we were a little worried because obviously he's a big Nebraska guy, and then you're a Colorado Buffs guy. Might get the rivalry going again.
Well, I understand that, and he won't. I won't agree on that. But yeah, listen, I'm not really a black tie and cheese and wine sort of guy. I'm more on the redneck side.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What Larry the Cable Guy does.
I mean, the last time I had Mark on the show, he had just came in and I don't remember the number, but you were like, "Hey, I just I feel like you were moving cattle, but perhaps something something to the effect there." I just knew, I was like, "Man, this guy's he's a real man. This is like the Marlboro Man here," and I'm sitting over here. How's that going?
Oh, good. Yeah. I was just helping a buddy of mine move his herd. We had about 500 head of cattle. We had to move them 12 miles, and it was freezing cold. It was one of those, awful eastern Colorado kind of days where the wind's flying through. So I do that kind of stuff on just helping guys out on a regular basis. And I team rope and do all that kind of stuff, hunt and fish. I'm Larry the Cable Guy kind of guy.
I'm not fitting in right because normally I'm an Eagles fan and Ryan's a Giants fan in the NFL, and we hate Cowboys, but I think we got to make an exception for an actual Cowboy.
Well, I was going to say
when I got to ask people, ask me, "Are you a real cowboy?" And I said, "Well, I'm less cowboy than Chris Ledoux, but I'm more cowboy than a guy from the Village People." So
there you go. It's a good middle ground to hit.
Yeah,
got a lot of Village People down here. I mean, I was going to say I'm irritated when I got to help the neighbor just roll his trash can in from the curb. You're moving herd of cattle.
I'm dealing with the wiper blade issue, so we're probably coming from different different issues as far as technical stuff there. Let's just hop right in. Obviously, there's a ton of excitement around the Colorado football team with the announcement that Deion Sanders is coming in as a head coach. He's obviously bringing his son over, a bunch of transfers. It seems like it's going to be a huge step for the program. Just walk us through the pulse there in Boulder, Colorado for the football team.
Well, first off, I've got to correct you. We have to call him Coach Prime.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Coach Prime.
Yeah. Coach Prime is now on board. Guys, it really is kind of stupid. I mean, and I say that in the most positive way. what has happened with this program? We've gone from, a 1-11 season when we were essentially not competitive at all, virtually every single ball game, to being the most irrelevant football team in America now to being the most maybe relevant football team in America, simply because of his presence. I've been saying all along, we didn't hire a coach. We hired a celebrity who coaches. And you guys are probably seeing it today on social media. Apparently, he's on the cover of GQ now.
Yeah,
and
should have got you on there as well.
well, we dress a little bit differently, not surprisingly. So it's really crazy what's happened though, because there's always excitement when you get a new coach. But you bring Coach Prime in, and he comes in here. He's got his own social media people. He's got the documentary right now on Prime Video, I guess it is. He comes rolling in here, and it's like a hurricane hit Boulder, and ticket sales and recruiting, obviously, which you guys follow, endorsements, sponsorships, donations are just through the roof right now, and Buff Nation is just buzzing. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
It's been a long time coming. Mark, I grew up a Buffs fan. The 80s and 90s, I want to say they had over a decade of being ranked every single year. Only 3 losing seasons in 20 years. Heisman Trophy winners, Butkus Award winners, all this. And it's been some tough years. So this is long overdue. I couldn't wait when they were speculating that this could happen. I was almost not believing that we could really land Deion. How about you? Did you think this was going to happen?
Well, when I first heard about it, just when you look at the surface of it, you say to yourself, this doesn't make any sense. He's always been, outside of playing for the 49ers, he's always been, a Southern guy, played in Atlanta, right? We played the Dallas Cowboys. He's an FSU guy. And so it was always connected to the South. It didn't make any sense to me. But then as time wore on, about probably 3 weeks before the announcement came down, I'm talking with the administration, and very much an off-the-record conversation. I said, "Is this real?" And they said, "Yeah, it's absolutely real." And then I start hearing, "Hey, I think we're going to get this thing done." So it really is an amazing thing. And Colorado is the only school, Power 5 school in America, that actually made an offer to him. And so I got to credit a guy like Rick George, the athletic director, for kind of thinking outside the box and understanding where this program was and saying, "Who can we get in here that is going to totally turn this thing around overnight?" And he might have found the one guy. I was doing a show on ESPN, and they said to me, because I said Deion Sanders is a one of one. There's only one Deion Sanders in the world. And they said, "You really don't think there's anybody else they could have hired, to make this kind of buzz?" And I said, "Well, maybe if Oprah decided to start coaching, I don't know." But I'm thinking, there aren't many people on the face of the earth you can hire to do this where you'd have this kind of influx of energy and attention. That's why I say he's one of one.
Yeah, no, it's certainly, and especially with college football and college basketball, with the NIL, with like having to recruit constantly with the transfer portal, it's almost become 2 jobs. One, like the X's and O's and actually executing it, and then 2, getting the kids there and keeping the kids there. And he seems uniquely qualified for both, at least especially early on. Is there even a concern right now? Like, there's so much hype, there's so much attention coming in. Like it's weird to be in a program, I think, where the bar is set so high, right?
Yeah, without question. You think to yourself, and again, we're going to see on a Monday night here, we're going to see a national championship game where you had TCU turn things around, spectacularly. We saw what Tulane did, right? Turning around, winning 2 games a year ago, and then beating USC in their bowl game. And so you do see these great turnarounds. But where Colorado was this past season, and what the speculation is about this upcoming year, I saw one of the sports book sites out there set it over under 4.5. Now, that's a spectacular difference between what Colorado fans are thinking right now, and at least what one entity in Vegas is thinking that you're going to see from Colorado. And so I'm fascinated to see how this whole thing unfolds moving forward. Now, what he's doing recruiting-wise and what we're seeing in the transfer portal and the traditional recruiting has really been spectacular. And it'll be interesting to see if he's able to make one of those kind of massive turnarounds like we've seen from a few programs.
Yeah, I just can't believe that we're.
Well, we've jokingly been saying it's going to be hilarious when Deion Sanders is the guy to fix college football. And to Sean's point earlier, he's uniquely equipped for it because he's one of Colby and I were just playing this game before the show, but he's one of the few guys that can actually say, "I've been down the path, elite athlete. I understand what it takes to get to the next level. And I understand what you have to put in to achieve the very top," because he was there. All of that being said, I was a little shocked to find out he was terrified of Bison, aka Buffalo. I saw he had an issue with Ralphie and how he's a little scared to be on the same field with a Buffalo. I've been pounding the table for the Buffalo Bison conversation. Do we just completely ignore the fact that it's a Bison and call it a Buffalo? Because I'm on board to do that. I just want to understand.
Ryan's really hung up on this issue. Mark, any help?
Well, I'll tell you what, and you guys may or may not know this. I'm a North Dakota native, right? We just saw North Dakota State lose the FCS championship yesterday, and they're the Bison. Okay, so that's all I knew growing up. And then when I'm out at Syracuse and I get this job, and obviously I know who the Colorado Buffaloes were. Yeah, I'm 100% Buffalo right now, even though I know technically the Buffalo is supposed to apply to the water buffalo over in Africa or wherever it is. I don't even know, to be honest with you. So I understand that. Well, somebody along the way, when they got here to this continent, said, they kind of look like a buffalo and the name stuck. So I'm going with it. Right?
Fair enough.
I like it. No, you mentioned we were talking kind of expectations. You mentioned the win total of 4.5. It's weird. I mean, you're coming from a 1-11 team. If he goes 6-6, that feels like what I would deem as a successful season for the football program, turning it around that quickly. But I feel like if I'm a Colorado Buffs, just diehard fan living there at the school, I'm thinking undefeated season. Are you worried about kind of to that point where what the fans want and what may be even a really good season, but it's going to be tough to do it all in 1 year, right?
No, I agree, and that's why if the reality next year and the performance is not what the expectation is, I mean, I want you guys to take all sharp objects away from Colby. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Buff fans out there? Because right now, Buff Nation has drunk the Kool-Aid, man. I mean, they are in this thing 100%. I saw where Fox Sports or somebody put out that Shedeur Sanders may be the favorite for the Heisman next year. Yeah. I think he's a phenomenal player. I want to see him play at this level a little bit and kind of see what he's able to do and what kind of players Coach Prime is going to bring in. So yeah, it's a fascinating deal we're dealing with right now. What's reality? What's a legitimate expectation? And then there's just off the charts that, in Buff Nation right now, if we're not 11-1 or 12-0 and playing, on a Monday night next year, it's going to be a total failure. And I think the reality is probably going to be somewhere in between. I'm
happy 6-6, but the season opener in Boulder is against the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Oh yeah.
After that, it's Colorado State. Take care of those two. And then I don't even care what you do in year one.
You're winning a lot of fans over with those wins.
We're going to open up at TCU next year. Okay, yeah. So we're in Fort Worth against a team that's playing for the national championship. Then you come home and you've got Nebraska. You want to talk about fans that are just off reality when it comes to expectation of their program. And right now they're going to be excited because they've got Matt Rule, and Matt Rule's a hell of a college football coach. And so talk about a collision course on September 9th next year. At Folsom Field, I'm not sure that building's going to be able to hold what's going to happen on a game like that. And that's Deion's first home game, as Colby points out.
The career arc of Deion Sanders and Matt Rule couldn't be much different right now. One's got some flames next to him. One is ice.
Well, I do like how Mark pointed out, very good college football coach.
He's a good neg.
And obviously he's coming back to college, getting back to the.
That was pre-transfer portal though. We'll see how he can build a program over.
Well, and yeah, it's a completely different thing, and it does seem like maybe some old school. We've seen a number of notable college basketball coaches retire here, possibly because of the NIL and transfer portal and that kind of stuff. What sort of impact do you think Coach Prime has? Obviously on the school itself, but also on the basketball team, which obviously you do play-by-play for, because I could imagine if it becomes a big destination for football, the basketball program might get some spillover to that, right? Am I misreading that?
No, I think there might be something there. And I don't know if you guys heard the quote by Tad Boyle after Prime got here. Somebody asked Tad about, and if you know Tad and I are very close and good friends. We've got kind of a similar way of looking at the world and kind of, generally conservative kind of guys. And Tad Boyle, when asked about if Deion Sanders is prime time, what does that make you? And he said, well, if he's prime time, I'm kind of Comedy Central at 3 a.m. He said, but nobody's watching. So that's the kind of guy Tad is. But I think there's something to what you're saying there. And if Colorado becomes a destination location, if there's a hipness, a coolness to be here at Colorado, it's a great spot, as you guys well know. It's a beautiful city. Just phenomenal. And so if it kind of gains that kind of reputation, I don't think you can help but see some of that spillover on the basketball. I do know this on our weekly television we do with the student athletes. I mean, all of them are just, they're buzzing right now because, Deion Sanders is on campus. And so I do think there's going to be some spillover that kind of hits other programs, and that can't be a bad thing.
I mean, they don't have a baseball team currently. I mean, Deion, is he gonna fix that? I mean, I know Robert Redford used to play baseball for the Colorado Buffaloes, huh?
Well, he was the only guy who ever played in an NFL game and a World Series game.
That's what I'm saying. So you almost have a pressure to start the baseball program a little bit too. Any chance that happens?
Yeah, there's been a push for that for a long time. Colorado had baseball for a long time, as you point out, and every year at some of our annual banquets we have for like the Hall of Fame classes, we're putting people who are baseball players in the Hall of Fame. There's always conversation about that. So that may be reignited, with a great baseball player that's now in town coaching football.
The ball flies further at altitude, Colby.
Oh yes,
I do, and I hate to disrupt the interview again with another Bison/Buffalo question, but I do have to ask this one too, because as myself, the closest I've ever gotten to a Buffalo/Bison has been on Catalina Island in the wild, probably about 20 feet. And it was pretty terrifying. I'm with Coach Prime there, so. Seeing as it's a mascot, have you ever had a chance to touch it, and/or how close have you gotten to a buffalo in the wild?
In the wild, on horseback, I have been around them a time or two. And by the way, they're kind of they're rough creatures. They're not warm and fuzzy, man. You don't want to go and try to hug a buffalo, right?
No.
I mean, that's kind of the deal right there. But if you ever seen the movie Lonesome Dove, and if you haven't, I'm disappointed in the three of you. If you haven't
I've seen it.
Okay, there's a great scene there where P and Gus are talking, and they're talking about chasing the buffalo, and P says, they're mean, they'll hook you. And so that's the kind of way it is for buffalo. And there's a reason, by the way. When they practice running Ralphie, and they do that on Friday nights many times before home games, they used to walk her across. They'd run her around the field and into that northwest corner into the pen there, and then walk her across. She got a little rambunctious years ago, and a couple people got hurt. So now they run her into a little set of panels, and they walk her across the panels. So, you don't want to be playing around too much with a buffalo.
I was about to say, Deion might have to ask you for some. If he's going to run with Ralphie, I think you might need to talk to Mark Johnson first. Say, hey.
That's the ultimate video. Coach Prime.
That's the interview.
Meets Ralphie with Mark.
Yeah, you guys out in the beautiful Colorado countryside on horseback conducting an interview. That would be.
First we got to get Coach Prime on a horse. I'm not. If he's afraid of Ralphie, he might be afraid of a horse too. I don't know. But, I think it might be best to keep Ralphie in the pen, have Coach Prime there, and then have the Ralphie handlers explaining what Ralphie
ease him into it. Have you got a chance yet to interview Coach Prime about the upcoming season and everything that's happened so far?
No, we haven't done anything. Normally, and I'm way too well versed at getting used to new coaches coming in since I've been here 19 years in Colorado. We've had way too many. And it generally works out like this. They come rolling in, and it's always at the end of the season. They're getting ready for recruiting, obviously. And I sit back for about a month and a half and just let them do their thing. And then after we get through that into February and basketball's wrapping up, then that's when I really get to do my interactions with coaches. Now, with that being said, Deion Sanders, as I mentioned, is a celebrity. There's a little bit different. I'm not walking down the hallway and just sticking my head in like
knocking on the door. Hey, let's go.
Hawkins, right? Yeah, that ain't happening. There's a little bit of a different protocol when it comes to Deion Sanders. They'll have to learn to follow that.
I still think we got to get a 40 run between Ralphie and Deion. I feel like that'd be a nice little marketing.
Look, if there's a college or NFL head coach that could mount a Buffalo, it would be a guy who played in the Super Bowl and the World Series.
Mark, Colorado basketball. Big buff fan of basketball too. Love KJ Simpson. I think this team's very exciting. They're a little young, I feel like, but they beat the Tennessee Vols, who some people have as a Final Four team, over in Tennessee, but yet they lose to Grambling and they lose to Cal Berkeley. I can't understand this team. Can you make it make sense? Can we make the NCAA tournament this year?
Well, I think we can. And to explain them, I can't explain it. I mean, that Cal game and the last two games since then, Colorado dominated Oregon and Oregon State, beat each of them by over 20 points. So, and was phenomenal defensively. That Cal game, Thursday night, 2 nights earlier, we're in Palo Alto. And the Buffs don't play their best game, but play really well. KJ Simpson's out of his mind, scores a career high 31 points. They win 73-70. and you're looking to sweep a nice road swing to open up the home court stretch, if you will, of Pac-12 conference play. And then they go and lay an egg, and you could tell the first couple of trips up and down the court. I'm like, this ain't happening. You could feel it. I mean, Cal hits a couple of threes. The Buffs look like they're lost out there, and they have losing that game. Then come home and dominate the two Oregon schools. So yeah, they're a little bit inconsistent, and it's a kind of a learning process. Hopefully, they've turned the corner. I think this team is good enough, and because of the schedule they played, their net number, despite that loss to Cal, still not awful. They're still sitting, I think, in the 60s right now. So they've got an opportunity. They got some work to do down the stretch. They're going to have to, I think, have the opposites, the counter for that loss to Cal. If they can beat UCLA, for example, this weekend coming up in LA, or you beat Arizona down the road, so you can kind of counterbalance that loss to Cal. That would certainly help us.
Well, and also too, I mean, Cal has, they were only a 1-win team, I think, when they played them, but they have won a few games since then, including beating Stanford outright by a pretty good margin. So maybe
they did, in fact, 22, in fact, over Stanford. So there's some talent there. And listen, when you're around a bad team, a lot of times when you watch a team, you can see there might be some parts, especially in basketball. There might be some parts of that team and think, okay, they're pretty talented in some respects, but they're missing a couple of areas. And then when the ball starts going in, you're hitting shots. Obviously, you can beat anybody. And in this day and age of college basketball, I know it's cliche, but we always say it, everyone's got players, and that really is the truism of college basketball. And so they're capable of winning. Yet, with all that being said, still a really bad loss should have happened.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. As far as expectations, kind of going back to the football team there, we've seen both Sonny Dykes, Lincoln Riley have success in that first year. Do you have something in mind already of like, hey, this is what I imagine a successful Buff season would look like coming up here in 2023?
Well, being that we're walking into uncharted territory, I'm even afraid to speculate, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no concept of what may happen. Now, the one thing we do know about college football right now, and we've seen this with the two teams you mentioned, with TCU and USC, it used to take 4 or 5 years to roll over a roster, right? In traditional college football, you're going to have to recruit your way out of it. You're not going to transfer out of it. Well, now at the transfer portal, I think the last I saw it, I know the Buffs right now are ranked number 1 in the transfer portal class right now in the country, the last I saw. And I think there are 18 or 19 guys coming. And so if you've got 18, I don't, by the way, and I don't think Coach Prime's done yet. I think he had 7 or 8 guys in town this last weekend, so he wants to add to it. So let's say it ends up being 25 people in transfer portal. All right, that's a pretty good chunk of your roster right there. And then you go out and if you're going to sign another 25 guys, all of a sudden you got 50 new players on a roster of about 100 guys. Well, you've rolled your roster over, and you can greatly upgrade a 2 deep and then go and take those individual pieces on the team, despite being 1-11 last year, that were pretty talented. There was a handful of them, and you sprinkle those guys in. All of a sudden, you can be an entirely different football team with an entirely different system now, obviously, with a new staff coming in. So this whole thing could change very, very quickly. Now, what does that mean? Can they go 10-2? Well, they've got a pretty daunting schedule when you look at it next year. I think the Pac-12 is going to be very good. I think the Pac-12 is loaded with quarterbacks next season. And then you've got the non-conference slate, which we already talked about. That's a pretty hefty expectation if you want to see them be in that 9, 10, 11 win range.
Yeah,
I certainly think you can expect them to be a bowl team next year. That's my hope.
Yeah,
that's
trips
a good goal.
to Washington, trips to Pullman, trips to Salt Lake City.
Well,
Eugene, like a lot of tough road trips.
And to his point, Pac-12 looks stacked. I mean, next year for sure.
I mean, Colorado always schedules, in my opinion, a little too aggressively. They have 11 Power 5s on the schedule, and the 12th game is a rivalry game against Colorado State. No FCS teams. Even this past year, 9 of the 12 teams they played on their schedule had 9 wins or more. That's insane.
Honorable people up there.
That's insane.
Not scheduling soft. Well, Mark, appreciate you so much calling in. This was a lot of fun talking Buffs basketball, Buffs football. Of course, give Mark a follow on Twitter at MJBuffsVoice. Before we let you go, Mark, we're taping this right before the national championship game. Would love to hear what do you got? Who do you got winning? What do you think the score will be?
Well, you know what? I'd like to say that because the Buffs opened up with TCU, and actually it was a hell of a game at halftime. And they went one direction and we went the other, of course, after that. But I'd like to say, well, I want TCU to win just because it helps Colorado look a little bit better with that schedule that Colby just pointed out there a moment ago. I'm hard-pressed to see that. They've been a phenomenal story. But I'm just not sure the Horned Frogs have got quite enough to get over the hump on this one. So I'm going Georgia in this one. I still think it'll be a pretty darn good football game today, but I'll go Georgia. You're asking me for a score. How about something like 28-21 or thereabouts?
Ooh,
There
all
we
right.
go.
28-21. TCU covers.
Yep, covers and goes under the total.
All right, like it. Well, appreciate you calling in, Mark. That was a lot of fun.
You bet, guys. Anytime. Take care.
Thank
All right,
you.
take it easy. Yeah, that was awesome and super exciting for the program. Everything they got going on there, and hopefully, we got to make it out to Boulder and watch the Buffs live. I mean, that's going to be
Appreciate
awesome.
him talking about Bison and Buffalo.
Well,
too.
should we go out to watch the Buffs live, or should we herd some cattle with Mark Johnson?
I want to do a little bit of both. I want to get on a steer.
I will say this.
You can make a 47-yard field goal. Can you?
I will
Can
say
you
this.
lasso?
As you know, I've spent some time on a dude ranch in the northern part of Colorado, near the border of Wyoming.
Okay.
Actually spent some time with a dude who was fraternity brothers with Josh Allen at the University of Wyoming. Anyway, riding a horse is something that you never get used to. It hurts. It's not comfortable. I think people that do it and do it well, their body is shaped that way, and or like because of generations of people sitting on horses, or they just tolerate it for long enough to where their body adjusts. It, like, you could be the best athlete in the world, riding a horse is fucking hard. I could only imagine the terror. We were taking a ride, and all of a sudden there were some bears off. Terrified. I'm like, if this horse starts running, there's a coin flip that I'm falling off and about to be eaten by this bear. It's like, hold on and pray.
Well, I've done horse riding a couple times where it's just like
With Blob.
Yeah, with Blob on the beach in Costa Rica.
Oh well, yeah, beach riding versus like mountainous.
No,
like,
no.
Oh, okay.
You start on the beach and then you go up into the mountains and you're going up and down, and it's a little nerve wracking. But then what the guy will do, he's like, "Do you want to gallop with the horse?" I'm like, "All right." So he does this like whistle, and then the horses start galloping. And when they're going,
That's terrifying.
when they're going full speed, you're like, "All right, I'm holding on for my life."
That's terrifying.
It's fun,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like, man, you
I
get
wanna
thrown
know.
off that thing, you're in trouble.
I've ridden on some fast vehicles before. That is riding a horse going full speed is one of the more terrifying. Well, it wasn't even. They probably had the training wheels on too. They was probably going like half speed, and I was fucking terrified.
47-yard field goal or lasso what do they do
on,
there?
man.
A goat?
we just spent 20-30 minutes talking to a real man. There's 0% chance that I'm going to be able to lasso anything. I can.
We'll be working on our lassoing skills. All right, we got a ton of NFL picks, podcasts coming at you with the FFPC Playoff Challenge, Playoff Best Ball. We are going to be coming to you live from Las Vegas for back-to-back NFL picks episode on Wednesday. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. Toss us a nice rating and review over on Apple Podcasts. And I just read one of the last reviews. Hit me up, and we'll get you a sweet gift card there. So again,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
for the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Go Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Kramer. Let it ride.